I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, part two on my blog that was part one last week. I talked about this curve development has gone into receivership. No big surprise there. I had been talking about this one in passing for about a year now, how they weren't selling those homes. Way overpriced, not a great location, social housing component. I think just a rookie developer from out of province, based in Quebec. Didn't consult the right people on the price points and everything else. So it was a fiasco right from day one. I've also been talking about that butterfly and how the sellers in there are going to be losing their heads, overpaid for it. Again, not the greatest location. The finishings in there are, I'm sure the finishings, the actual quality of the materials might be okay, but the color schemes and everything else are wacky, to be quite honest. And they're having a tough go on it. Yet to be any registered sales yet on the MLS, prices are coming down. So this blog, I want to talk to you guys about, is this kind of the beginning of the end of pre-sale? So pre-sale, I think some of you will know that the concept of pre-sale condos originated here in Vancouver. We started it here. Bob Rennie, the condo king, probably about, I don't know now, probably 24, 25 years, somewhere between 20 and 25 years ago. They first started this pre-sale concept where they would pre-sell these at a display center with a display suite and some brochures. You would lay down a deposit, usually just 5%. That's all it took. The construction time was a fraction of what it is now. You usually got keys within a couple of years. Here's something that will surprise you guys, and I've done blogs on this. You used to be able to buy this pre-sale below what tangible product was selling at. And why wouldn't you? It wasn't built yet. You were taking a lot of risk there. You're basing your purchase off a brochure. You really had no idea what the finished product was going to look like. So to entice people to buy these, they would sell them at a somewhat discounted price compared to a 1 or 2 year old tangible condo. They had to. And for the layaway program. But as I've told you guys before, the pendulum shifted in the consumer's favor all the way over to the extreme in the developer and or the marketing company's favor over the years. And it was a gradual thing. But, in the past, you used to be able to buy these maybe 2 years until you got the keys. You bought them at a discount to what tangible product was. If you changed your mind while you were waiting for the building to be completed, no problem. You could hire a realtor like me. We could put it on the MLS and sell it as an assignment with no fees or restrictions. The construction time was much shorter. The contract was fairly straightforward. The disclosure documents weren't as daunting as they are now. It was a much cleaner sale and you were getting them at a good price. But as I've told you guys, gradually over time, starting about 13 years ago, the market was ultra hot here, as you guys know. Everything was selling, prices were going up. And it was a gradual thing where they thought, you know what, guys, let's try it. What if we sold these a little bit more expensive than what tangible product is selling at? Because, hey, the market's on a real roll here. By the time they get the keys on this, in a lot of cases, it's worth 50, 60, 100,000 more than what they paid for it, depending on the price point and where it was and everything else. And I'm sure the developers at that point thought, I don't know, can we get away with this? Well, let's try it. And they did. They started bumping the prices up to take into account maybe some potential. It didn't always go in your favor, but for now it had been, where the prices were rising. And sure enough, consumers didn't blink an eye. They were happy to pay a premium price for that layaway program. The next thing they started doing was, let's bump up the deposit amounts. In the past, it was 5%, done. That was all it took. They slowly started ratcheting up the deposit amounts. It would go 5% at signing, then they would add another 5% or maybe a third installment to make it 15. And they've gradually ratcheted that up over time too, to now some of them are up to 25% deposit structure. Next thing they did, the construction times used to be way shorter. Now we're getting into construction times by the time you first sign to the time you get the keys, 6, 7, there's been some pushing as far as 8 years by the time you get the keys on these units. Next thing is the assignments. In the past, you could, again, assign those contracts. I could put them on the MLS. It was an easy sale, no fees or anything else. Developers thought, well, let's try getting a piece of that. But the other first thing we're going to do is let's start doing some holdback units that we don't sell. Let's not sell them all in a pre-sale because markets are going up. Let's hold back 10% of the units for ourselves. And then when it gets complete, we'll put those on the market as a tangible unit and we'll participate in that lift or that profit as the market's gone up. So to do that, though, they said, hey, you know what? We don't want anyone to be able to sell these in assignment and put it on the MLS because we don't want the competition. So we are going to put in the contract and in the disclosure documents that you are not allowed to put this on the MLS if you change your mind and want to sell it as an assignment. If you want to sell it as an assignment, you've got to use other means, and that means things like Craigslist, Facebook Market Page, and whatever else. Tough to sell it that way, guys. The next thing is if they make a profit on this, the seller flipping it or selling as an assignment, we want a piece of that now. We're not going to let you just do that and make that money. We want 10, 15, 20% of what they call the lift or any profit. You know what else we're going to do? We've been letting you guys put these on the MLS, selling the assignments for a small fee. Usually it was $500 for the administration charge. We're going to start charging $2,500, $5,000 for the administration fee on this. So you can see where it was going, guys. It went from favoring the consumer to shifting gradually over the last 12 or 13 years all the way over to the developer and the marketing company. And then, of course, you got a whole other thing when you're buying stuff that off a brochure. It's not tangible. So you don't know really what the finished product is going to be like, of course. You have no idea what the parking space is going to be like, if there's going to be any obstructions above the parking space, all that good stuff. So, it is shifted all the way over. I've told you guys, I used to buy pre-sale all the time for myself. I used to get clients into pre-sale. I used to buy a lot of assignments. The last assignment I bought, though, was about 11 years ago in Crosstown. Got a fantastic deal on it. Story was the lady went in, had too many glasses of wine and bought 3 units and overcommitted herself, and I was happy to come in and pay what she paid for that unit at the pre-sale. And I've done very well on it. But after that point, that was about the last time, 11 years ago, everything has shifted so far over that it doesn't make much sense anymore. Unless it's special circumstance, I won't get it into this blog. Go into my archives and I'll tell you guys where it can make sense. If it's a very special unit, unobstructed waterfront, something that can't be replicated in the open market, in the tangible market, then perhaps it can make sense. It can be not so bad if you're buying a simple one bed for $600K in Richmond on SkyTrain or New Westminster. Okay, why not? Because you're not risking that much capital. But, these days now, it just does not make a whole lot of sense. And I'm starting to wonder maybe perhaps if this is kind of the beginning of the end of pre-sale. Maybe they've gotten too greedy. They've moved it so far over now. And the prices they're trying to get for these just don't add up. So they're all either going into receivership or canceling these pre-sales because nobody's buying. So something's going to have to give here. And we'll see. Now, I want you guys, probably you guys don't realize this, but some of you are my younger viewers, but this isn't the way it used to always be. Prior to about 15 or 18, 20 years ago, there was a lot of strata that was sold tangible. The builder would finance it. They would build it, get a loan, build it, and then sell it as a tangible product. This is something you guys might not be aware of. I just bought one coming up to 7 years ago. A tangible brand new unit. I blogged about this. Was my last investment unit. This is a building called The Proximity on Ontario Street in Olympic Village. This was built by Bastion, pretty large builder. They did not do a pre-sale. I know it sounds shocking to you guys, and it was an incredible deal for me and my buyers that I got into. Maybe that's why they're rarely done, because they're good for the buyer. Not so good maybe for the developer. Oh, I think Bastion did fine on this. This was a 75, 80 unit strata, 17 floors. Bastion did not pre-sale it. They built the building, financed it themselves, and then about 3 months before occupancy permits were granted on this, they opened a very small, basic little office off the lobby and hired a couple of realtors, good realtors, just a team from Sutton, local, just not pre-sale marketing people, to sell these units. And it was very basic. They had a little wall map of the floor plans, the units and the price sheets. You would walk in and you could have a look at what your price point was, and then they would take you up to the unit and you could have a look at the tangible unit. The only thing that wasn't in there yet was maybe the fridge or the stove wasn't installed yet, but it was a tangible unit. All the common area was there. I went in and I bought 3 units. I tried to get more clients into this. I would have liked to have sold 6 or 7 in this because it was a very good opportunity. I bought 1 for myself and I sold 2 more to investor clients. I still own mine. I can tell you guys what I paid for it. $368,000 plus GST, no parking, 520 square feet with a balcony. So it was funny. I bought it and was able to put a tenant in there. 2.5 months later, I got the keys on it, and I've never looked back. A year after I bought that unit, I was up about $100K on it. I'm probably up a cool $250,000 on it since I bought it. That's one of those ones that I've talked about where some of the stuff I buy goes up in a straight line, never goes underwater. The other half of what I've bought over the last 35 years at some point is worth a little less than what I paid for it if I wanted to sell it, which I wouldn't. And that makes up the other half of the purchase. But it's usually in the first few years where it's potentially worth less than what you paid for it. But proximity went up in a straight line. Both my clients, the other 2 clients I sold in there, both still holding their homes and are very happy. They've got tenants in there and we've made boatloads of money on it. So that was just 7 years ago, guys, 6.5, 7 years ago. So it can be done. And that I would love to see more of. And some of these big builders like Boza, Ani, Cressy, Concert, they've got the pockets for this. And you know, the funny thing is, it would be a fairly large savings for the developer. Sure, they would now have to get their own money, do their own financing without pre-selling. So they would probably pay a higher interest rate for sure. However, they would probably save, I don't know, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 million or more on the fees to Rennie or some of the other marketing companies to do the marketing on these things, because it's extremely expensive building out display suites and display centers and hiring staff and everything else. They bypass all that. In the one I bought from Bastion, they had none of that. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty certain that these 2 Sutton realtors, they probably footed the bill on all that. It was a very, very basic display thing they had there. So Bastion probably had 0 marketing costs on that development. So, hey, there would be a savings there. Now, I just saw on the news here that Rennie's laid off 25% of his staff, and there's probably more coming. So I know things are hurting for these pre-sale marketing companies. But maybe I'm throwing it out there. Maybe that would be a breath of fresh air. I would sure love to see some of the big developers like a Boza or a Cressy or an Ani or a Concord Pacific, maybe try this route. Maybe build it and then sell it as a tangible unit. They save money on the marketing. If you think about it, if the developer is confident that the market's rising, then it would be totally in their best interest not to sell until the building is built and finished. So I think we're going to see some of this coming down the line. There's very few of these. As I say, the last one, they have been out there with Bastion, the one I bought. I would love to see more of these. It would definitely be much more favorable for the consumer to be able to buy this. Because you see, they can hide flaws when you buy pre-sale too, guys. Because when you're buying it off a brochure, that disclosure statement you sign and you're going to get keys in 5, 6, 7 years. There's all the outs are with the developer. You have very, very few rights once you sign on the dotted line and let that rescission period of 7 days go by. You're locked in now. The developer has all the rights in their favor. You know, by selling it tangible now, you've got to deliver a pretty good product. You know, the finishings, the floor plans, the color schemes, the parking space. You see, you can see all that now. When you're selling it at a pre-sale, developers can get away with a lot of stuff there, and the marketing companies, because you don't really know what you're going to buy. Case in point would be the Butterfly. You know, I don't know I never went to the display center on that 6, 7 years ago. I'm not sure what they were buying. If it's like what they've got now, yikes, because it's not good. And that's why there has yet to be a registered sale on the MLS now that it's tangible. So there'd be pros and cons to it. The developer would cut costs on marketing fees dramatically. They would take advantage of any lift as the building is being constructed over the next 4 or 5 years. They're not selling it at this price and then rarely, but by the time they sell it, the market could be up 20%, so they'll capture that. But on the consumer side now, it's tangible. You can open the cabinets, look at the parking space, see the finishings. You don't have 5, 6, 7 years where things can change. You're buying it now and getting keys a couple months later. It's a win-win in my opinion, but we'll see what happens. But it is more risk for the developer because they're now footing the bill on everything as opposed to the pre-sale buyer. The pre-sale buyer foots all the risk on that because they lay down their deposits and they're signing off on ironclad contracts you can't get out. So let's see where this goes. I think the landscape is going to change here. I think we're going to see in the next few years some developers say, forget this pre-sale stuff. I'm going to build this 150 units, and then 2 to 3 months before we're ready to get occupancy, I'm going to open up a very, very basic little display center and let people look at these units tangible and sell them there. And that would be far better for the consumer. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.